Rabbit Hole Podcast 10.
10, we made it to 10.
We made it to 10. The critics are out there. They're loving it. They're loving it, mate. How you going?
Yeah, man, just surviving all the, Aussie cricket fans, coming after me. And
I mean, I wouldn't call them fans.
I mean, you got the McGregor fans, so,
you gotta...
It's wild out there.
It's hard out there for a content creator. Anyway, let's get to it. We have a lot to talk about. Every week, seemingly, there's a lot of new things, but... all that's out, at least in the entertainment press, is Barbie versus Oppenheimer. Ooh. Oppenheimer. Am I even saying it correct?
Yes, Oppenheimer.
This has been billed as, I mean, at least in recent times, have we ever seen two really hyped up movies released on relatively similar sort of time frames?
I mean, you've always seen like the big clashes before, right?
Before them.
But this is probably the biggest. They're two of the biggest movies of 2023.
Yeah.
You got Barbie with Margot Robbie.
Yep.
And Oppenheimer, another Christopher Nolan. We're hearing classic. Like probably some people.
I love how you say Barbie with Margot Robbie actor and Oppenheimer with director.
It's Cillian Murphy. Yeah, that's good. That's
Peaky Blinders, mate. Have you watched Peaky Blinders?
No.
Okay, you know what? We're diverting. Let's get to it. They were released around the same time. I've heard interesting things about this because apparently Christopher Nolan and the team, because he directed Batman, right?
Yeah, he directed The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Inception.
So apparently they didn't leave at kind of good terms, and Mattel and the team, rather, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering the specifics of this, that the deal with Barbie as well may have released it around the same time.
Also, they got beef? Oh, shit.
Potentially. Yeah, I wouldn't put it there. Just marching. But apparently there are those sort of issues there, but
like the funny thing, right? I'm pretty sure both of them are Warner Brothers.
That's what I meant. Because of the Warner Brother connection with Christopher Nolan. Let's just say that Nolan within the Dark Knight franchise didn't really leave on the best terms. So potentially if we're starting,
you know what it also is with Warner Brothers. So I mean, last year, Warner Brothers. Last year or the year before, they made that decision to release all the movies on streaming without even contacting any of the directors or producers.
They do some weird stuff, eh?
And that pissed off a lot of people. One of them was Christopher Nolan.
Yep.
And yeah, he didn't really like that. He was one of the big sort of vocal people at that time saying, why did Warner Brothers do this? So, I mean... we'll see, like, in terms of box. I reckon, obviously, Barbie's going to have a bigger box office potential.
Yeah, it's got more of that mass appeal. But the hype on Oppenheimer is unlike. I've been hearing this is like the best movie ever. Like, I've been
hearing things like, this is Nolan's best ever film. It's one of the best films ever made.
Yeah, I've definitely been hearing that
stuff like that, and like it's. I'm watching it tomorrow, so whatever this podcast comes out, but like, I'm watching it tomorrow, and I'm just like pretty hyped about it. I mean, another fact, you know me, mate. I watch these type of movies first day, first session, mate. It was all sold out for like 2-3 days, Thursday, Friday. Even like, today's Saturday, is sold out.
So it's interesting you say that, because I think as a marketer, because we're both in that sort of space, both of these films have had really good marketing campaigns. Let's talk about Barbie specifically, because as a marketer, we've seen the pink army, the phenomenon. It's everywhere. The integrations of, pink basketball courts, pink everything. I think you can't go on social media and not see something there.
The social media campaign for Barbie, I think, is next level.
Yeah, for sure.
They've done everything in terms of, they've got a trending like song.
Yeah.
Up there in the trending charts of Instagram Reels and TikToks.
Hold up, why am I getting targeted for Barbie on my TikTok? Like, you gotta check your targeting, man. That makes no sense. But yeah, I'm getting it too.
Yeah, man. It's that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that. This is the thing with marketing, right? You've seen marketing evolve. It can't just be that you put out, your ad and you put it sponsored on TikTok and Reel, and it's an ad, and you gotta think a bit more different. You gotta be a bit more, deeper than that. You gotta really get like a trend going.
Yeah.
You've really got to get like a dance going, some sort of something that's different from the norm. You can't just be selling anymore.
Yeah.
Marketing's changed.
Yeah.
Especially movie marketing. And like, I really do like, I'll probably watch Barbie later, but like, I respect the marketing. That's like next level. I gotta say, I've seen it everywhere. And like, look, we're not the target audience, right? But
well, interesting you say that. Who do you think is the target audience for Barbie?
I've seen a lot of females and girls. Girls' nights.
Yep. Yep. Do you think it's a children's film?
No.
Okay, but you know that for a fact, or you've been told that?
From what I can tell from
based on the trailer? You've seen the trailer,
yeah, the trailer. I mean,
so from the trailer, do you get that it's not a kid's film?
Yes, I get that. Okay, right, and to me, it's also the caliber of talent involved. So
hold
Margot Robbie.
Okay,
Ryan
so what
Gosling.
if you think if it was Zendaya, you would have said it's a kid's like?
Yes. Yes.
You gotta get Zendaya, man. You gotta support the ethics, man.
Bro, what is this thing about Zendaya being mid? I've seen online, man. Even actually, I saw the news today.
Yeah,
Margot Robbie. There's like something online about her being mid. Like, dude, in what world is Margot Robbie mid?
All right, number one. Public service announcement.
Yeah, public service. Then I'll do the public service announcement. Margot Robbie is hot. Is one of our best exports from Australia. You're not mid. That's it.
I mean, when did mid become a term? I hate these new fucking... It makes me feel old. Oh, shit. It makes me feel old.
No. But like, it's... I mean, I don't know what universe you think Margot Robbie's mid.
Okay, you know what? We've gone on a tangent here, but let's pull it back. The target market, right? I think Barbie, you're right. And the reason I say this is I have a mate. He's a dad. Yeah. He took his daughter to watch Barbie, and he was surprised that it, quote and unquote, was not a kid's show. I'm like, dude, did you see the trailer? Did you see who they have? Yeah. Surely you would have got it. You would have got from it that it wasn't a kid. But the Barbie brand transcends so many age demographics, but when you think about the movie specifically,
here's a question I asked, right? And I'm not like I won't be the expert on this, but like, is Barbie still relevant as a kid's toy? Like, that's what I'm thinking.
Not in the space,
right? It's something from the 90s, 2000s era, right? So it being a film that is a bit like catered towards 20 to 30-year-olds, probably falls in line.
I think it's that nostalgia trip, right?
Yeah, it's the nostalgia factor of it. Yeah. And like, but it's also like you're targeting the 20, 30-year-olds who used to play with Barbie in the 90s and 2000s. Yeah. Right. So to me, it's like that's why it's apparent to me. But I can, from the marketing as well, we would praise it as well. But like, there's a lot of bright colors and a lot of trending audios and all sort of stuff. But like, it could be misconstrued to be not an adult film. It could be like, something that's.
Well, the Barbie brand is that brand from a color scheme perspective. I don't know whether... But to your point, because my wife Trish, she went to watch it yesterday, and she said that there were a lot of kids there. There were a lot of like parents with their kids watching.
Is there anything in that movie? I haven't watched it, but like, is there anything in the movie that would be like what did your friend say that was a bit like I don't know,
it wasn't, it's not that it was bad or anything, it's the expectation. When you go into a Marvel movie, there is an expectation, right? You expect I mean, effects, big explosions, blah 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 blah. When you go to a Star Wars movie, it's the same. And I think this is where it's interesting, because a lot of the marketing for Barbie and the integrations of it almost, maybe this is a casual comment, but almost lends itself towards the stereotype of the, not kids, but like that element there, which could lead you to believe that, especially if you're not in the space, watching trailers, an example there. But from my understanding of it, it's a very real movie, and it deals with very real, I think there's not political, but Barbie and Mattel and the company understand the power that their dolls had, and maybe some of the wrongs that they positioned their doll there. And this is an adult way of extending that conversation.
It's more deep than
it is.
Than your friend probably thought a kid's movie would be.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
It definitely, it's not a kid's movie, but that's the thing.
Well, he thought it was a kid's movie. And it's more deep than that.
Yeah. So they were going. Yeah. So like, target market's definitely mid-20s to mid-30s, right? Yeah. So the girls or the boys, by the way, Ken. Who bought a Ken doll? Anyway, I'm just saying. You did. I saw Ken dolls back in the day, but anyway. It's targeted at that, so definitely they're at a certain sort of age that can extend and continue the conversation of Barbie. So again, from a marketing perspective, makes sense. All over LinkedIn, all my marketing friends, Barbie. That's all I saw, and it was good. All good for it. Let's move to Oppenheimer. So, you're a videographer. We're of the dark arts.
Yes.
My understanding of it, and let's obviously like talk about it when you've actually watched it, is
come back with a review.
The marketing campaign for this was very different, but I think it's different in the way of word of mouth. We're in Australia, so what that means is we get the films a bit later, right?
A little bit later, and also they did screen this earlier before. It might have been a month or two before.
Yeah,
and there was some interesting things coming out of that.
Yeah.
So. And things that even Christopher Nolan didn't even think.
What do you mean?
So a lot of people were telling Christopher Nolan that you've made a horror movie here. Like, you don't know it, but you actually made a horror movie.
Pertaining to what the
like in terms of
how it's shot,
but also what the subject matter is and everything. And like, I think it's like that's actually true.
Yeah,
he actually said it himself. He's like, yeah, I can see this as a horror movie.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa. I was like, to me that sounds very interesting.
Well, I love that he said, I can see this, which means in his perspective, it's not necessarily how he views it, but he can appreciate that the interpretation from the audience can be that. And I think that's a mark of a really good movie.
Yeah. And from what I hear, because Nolan has a lot of, like, in the past, there's a lot of problems with sound design.
Yeah.
A lot of people have complained about Bane's voice, like in Batman and
wasn't
stuff
that deliberate,
in and like it's for him, it's deliberate, but then when he does these screenings, people are like, I can't hear what Bane's saying. Then he has to begrudgingly go back and change it. But from what I hear from
these are screenings before it gets released to mass.
And then like from what I hear about this, the sound is incredible.
Yeah,
like it's something that moves you.
I've heard that too. Trish said the same thing.
Yeah, it's man.
Tell me this: when's the last time you went to to the movies and watched a movie? Name me a name, and came back saying the sound was almost the best part of it. Can you when can you think?
Top Gun Maverick, actually.
Really?
Yes. No. So I watched that.
Bro.
So you guys probably know Atmos, Dolby Atmos,
yeah,
right?
Of course,
it's been in cinemas for a while now. But with that comes a lot of challenges in mixing and mastering the track, right? A lot of films don't get it right. They just do whatever and just like, put it to every speaker. But why I thought Maverick did it well is that it really mastered the positioning of the sound.
Yeah.
And that's why it won an Oscar for it.
Okay, yes, for the audio engineering component of it, right?
Because like it was different to
but tell me this: a movie such as Top Gun can do that because the nature of the topic, meaning fighter jets, whoosh, you get all of that, right? But sorry, what I'm more saying is more like suspenseful music and being able to build that. When's the last film that you like that? Not the FX, like the actual
music itself,
composition. Like when you get what's the guy's name?
Hans Zimmer.
Zimmer, like that sort of stuff.
I think he did Oppenheimer. Actually, Hans Zimmer.
Of course.
It's been a while. I mean,
it's been a while, right?
I mean, would be the last Nolan film. I wouldn't say Tenet, maybe the one before that.
The other thing as well is you haven't watched it yet, but you've seen the trailer, right?
Yeah.
So it's shot in what? Like it's shot in
IMAX 70mm. So
which is what? Because normal films are Super 35s.
Yeah, so normal films are like 16:9, Super 35.
What's the actual, apart from the fact that it's an older tech, like how does that lend itself from a visual perspective?
So at the end of the day, right? So we get like a wide perspective of film normally, right?
Yeah.
What 70mm does, it adds that, like it makes it like a square for IMAX screens, so you can see more of like
from
the top
height
and the bottom.
Yeah,
from a height perspective.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing there is a point to doing that because Nolan wants to show the scale, I guess, of something like an atomic bomb. Going off, and you need to have that big sort of and like. Unfortunately, our IMAX here in Sydney isn't done yet. Isn't ready.
Man, how good is that? That thing looks the bomb.
It's the building looks nice, but it's been in hell for a while now. But I think
we'll see.
I think a couple of months left until it's finished. That's what I'm here. But like, I mean, that would be a perfect. I might even rewatch this if it's still playing in IMAX because Nolan wants you to watch this in the biggest and the best screen possible. With the best sound and I mean, like IMAX cameras are sort of. I mean, all of Marvel movies are now shot with IMAX cameras. You go on Disney Plus, right, and you can see all the Marvel movies, but you can also see the IMAX versions of them as well.
Yeah.
So they're all shot in that, and it really does like suck you in a bit more into it.
Yeah, of course.
And I like, so yeah, we were saying we don't have it here in Sydney, but we had some, like our IMAX is under construction, but there was some IMAX screens actually part of an event cinemas in Entertainment Quarter for a little while, right?
Yeah, for a little while.
That's where I watched in Avengers Infinity War, and that was all shot in IMAX. And that looked incredible. Like, it really did. Like, when you're in front of that screen, it just feels like everything goes away.
Oh,
you're just like in that world.
It definitely immerses you in it.
So, yeah, I mean, this will definitely be one of them if it's still playing to be.
They'll bring it. They'll bring it. Yeah. But yeah, two big blockbusters, very different approaches to marketing. No one better than the other. But yeah, I mean, is cinema back? Well, how can it be back?
Well, we said it died last episode.
Well, how can it be back if the actors are striking? What's going on here? I thought you said that the writers were striking. So they're both striking at the same time?
Oh, man. And, we had Fran Drescher announce this, the nanny.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, shit's going bad.
Sorry, what is her role?
So we have this, the writers have the Writers Guild of America.
Yes.
So the actors have a guild called the Screen Actors Guild.
Yep.
So they've, obviously they've seen their writers striking and they want to support them, but they also have a lot of concerns of their own.
Yeah.
So a lot of this pertains to the fact that like studios want to use actors' likenesses, with the help of AI in perpetuity. So forever. So an actor would come in. So this is what the studios think would be the future of filmmaking.
Yeah.
An actor comes in and he maybe does like maybe an hour's worth of work of, they shoot you from different angles and stuff like that, get every little detail. And then he goes home, and then what happens is they cast you in movies and they just say, just use my likeness, my AI likeness. And then literally you don't have to act, you don't have to do anything, you just stay at home. And then like the problem is, right, the studio think, this is awesome. Like, we can increase our production of movies tenfold. But the actors are like, well, what happens when I die? Like, you're just going to keep make money off my name?
Isn't it a licensor so the estate gets it?
Well, I don't know.
Wait, is this strike specifically pertaining to that?
Because there's also the pay that they get. And not the pay that like the big actors get, but the pay that...
It's the little guys, right?
But I think one of the crux of the issue is in regards to royalties for stuff like... the streaming stuff, right?
The streaming stuff seems to be a big thing, right?
The major problem, and the writers have the same problem, right? Yeah. Is that the shift to streaming has caused a lot of problems in that they haven't worked out a proper way of paying royalties. And it's just...
Do you know what the current approach is now?
Well, the current approach is that, it's streaming and like, these streamers pay $500 million for the rights of something like Friends, right?
Yeah.
And
so a fixed amount, right?
And like back in the old days in syndicated TV, if you'd buy the rights, if like a network bought it, then you could say, okay, we've got ads running on this. Whatever money we make from the ads, we'll pass it on to the actors' royalties, and they get nice $4,000, $5,000 check for something like Friends.
Yeah.
And probably per month, and they'll be like, dude, this is awesome.
Yep.
So what's happening now is the streamers have bought all the rights to these, and they're paying the actors something like, instead of $5,000, $6,000, they're paying them like, here you go, here's $200.
Yeah.
And like, the actors are like, what is this? And like, this is ridiculous. Why aren't you paying us more? But the streamers are like, we have no ads on this. How are we supposed to, there's no, like, how are we supposed to work out what, because the ads are also based on like how many people view it, right?
Yeah.
At the time, how many viewers they have of these Friends reruns. Let's just go with that example for the whole, for the rest of
Attacking Nanny Fraser. Yeah.
But like how many of like people watched it? So then they work out, okay, this is how much revenue you got from the ads, and then they pay it off. You can't do that with streaming because there is no ads, and then all the data in regards to how many people have watched it is all private. These are all private companies.
Yeah,
they're not revealing the numbers of how many people have watched this and how many people watch that. Which, I mean, this could make it that they have to, right? Because then the actors can go, well, that got 1.5 million views. Why am I not getting paid?
Yeah.
But the thing is, they have to work out, right? Because there's something like a Netflix is going, well, we're paying $500 million for this. We're losing.
Yeah.
Like, where are we making money?
Netflix isn't making any money. I didn't even know.
And they're like, but then Netflix makes money from their subscribers and paying per month, right? But then how do you work out that subscriber subscribe to watch Friends? You can't.
It's hard.
You really can't. You know what? That's the thing.
It's challenging. It's very challenging. How is this different from music? This is exactly the same thing for music,
It's the same thing that's happened to the music industry, right? The music industry, and we saw Snoop Dogg. I saw Snoop Dogg talk about this as well. He was like, look, Spotify is killing the music industry.
Yeah.
It's artists are making nothing from it. And like, he's saying back in the day, we sell an album for $10. We get a good amount back.
Yeah.
Like, someone streams our song, we get 0.0000129 cents.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, how can it be that like, I get like 1 billion streams, but then I only make like a couple of thousand on it?
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense. Where's the money going for that?
Yep.
So that's where like, streaming, although it's great for the consumer, I mean, we're loving it. So unlimited songs, unlimited TV shows, nice. But what's actually happening, the money's not going to the artists. They're not going to the actors. They're not going to the directors. And that's the problem, right? Like, and these, the climate that we're in right now, everyone's studios are trying to save as much money as they can, right? Yeah. You see Disney now talking like the way they're talking, they're like, mate, like, we're going to cut back our Marvel stuff. We're going to cut back all our Star Wars stuff. We don't have the money to make all this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And they're having losses upon losses, So, I mean, at the end of the day, the solution is going to be something crazy, because how you work that out is going to basically be the standard going forward, because I don't see streaming going away.
It's not. It's a very tough one, because if you think about let's just use Netflix for example. How much is a Netflix license? I mean, like monthly in Australia, $20?
So, yeah, $15, $20. Yeah,
$15-20, right? If you think of that, how many movies you have on it? It's a good deal, right?
Yeah.
You're theoretically thinking about it, like all that you get there. So arguably, from that economic perspective, it's cheap. It's really cheap.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't feel like that, right?
Yeah.
How are studios, or is Netflix, when they actually are legitimately making accounting losses on $500,000 is a big investment there, to do it when the consumer doesn't value, or they're not willing to pay that difference there because they're cheap. Everyone, especially in the current sort of climate, right? So when we take it back to the music industry, it's really hard, because you've got to think now, in this time, Spotify allows you. How many artists have you discovered in Spotify that you never? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Spotify, it's easy for me to say because I'm not in the industry. The easier thing for music is the artist is the artist, meaning that in let's say a movie, there is the lead actors and there's everyone from extra to down, right? So that attribution is infinitely difficult, because I think I said that, like, in a movie, not half the reason, but there's such an imbalance between what the stars get versus everyone gets. Why don't you just reshuffle that deck, right? But if you're a Robert Downey Jr., if you're a Margot Robbie, you can say, hold up, mate. The only reason that people are coming is me. So I'm not saying it's easy, but like you can see arguments on both sides, right? It's not as simple as
that's why
pay less or redistribute that income accordingly, right?
People like Tom Cruise, people like Robert Downey, they're smart. In their deals for these movies, they're like, well, okay, then I won't take 100 mil or 50 mil. I'll take maybe 30 mil, but I want 15% cut of the box office. Yeah, because they know it's gonna be a big something like an event. They're
betting on that. Well, that is what the UFC pay-per-view model is.
Yeah,
and that's why when you get fighters cut in there, they do all that promotion because they're financially incentivized, right? I'm not saying that I know the answer, but I can appreciate how challenging it is. It's
challenging for a studio in that, because they have to now figure out how to cut actors in.
Yeah,
right, and they're talking about Netflix doing losses, man. They're losing a lot.
Yeah.
Right. On the stock market, they lost heaps.
Yeah.
Last year. But it might even be a rethink of the model itself, right? Because when you got Netflix, you're just bombarded with like TV shows, movies everywhere.
There's too much, right?
There's a lot.
There's a lot of rubbish too.
And they invest a lot in Netflix because they want to have their original content.
So does Prime. Like all of the major Paramount, they all do. They have to, right?
it might even be that, look, instead of us investing, over $100 billion, maybe we need to leave a little bit left for the actors. Because that's the only way I can see it working, right? Because you have to give them a cut of that pie. Because at the end of the day, your profits that you get, you have to have some of that go to the actors because how else are they going to get this?
It is by virtue of their pay, though. It's just that what that valuation of that pay is.
Maybe the pay needs to be rethought, right?
Well,
here's your pay, and these are your. But then, it is hard,
it's
right?
not the reason, dude. If it was that easy,
it's based on views,
performance. So for example, let's give an example.
Because royalties are all based on that.
What's a big movie, hyped up movie that flopped in the box office? Can you name one? I just can't think of it.
The Flash.
The Flash, right? Okay, hold up. So their fixed cost must have been astronomical, right? So if you made that an incentive, let's say incentives, you only get in the same way that a salesperson, maybe 70% of their income is commission, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna die by that sword, right? So if your movie bombs, and you don't have a fixed income, that's why people don't like commission versus. I'm just saying, like they like the security of it. Yeah. You're gonna be on the other side, whereas you can't expect to get the upside and not participate in the downside, which is why it's generally a challenging thing. There's no easy way, and when you account for extras and stuff like that. One way is, they're not getting paid enough. The other way is generally like, if I never knew that, like, how much does that, like, it's not a nice conversation to have, but it is. I'm not saying that they don't, but if you would say the solution is, hey, Robert Downey Jr., take significantly less, will they take? They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. So
that's the thing, right?
So it's hard, right?
The cost of production is so high on these things.
It is, right?
But it is probably ballooned by the fact that the big actors are
taking
charging
a massive premium.
Yeah.
So tell me this, right? Because we're into our cameras and stuff like that, and I was looking at one of these FX30s, right?
Yeah.
These APS-Cs. I don't know what movie, that entire movie was shot on that camera, right? Yeah. So you tell me, when the rate progression of technology, now a consumer can have a cinema-grade camera that you can put on Netflix. So you mean to tell me that in an economic market where the technology innovation is increasing, the barriers of cost are arguably decreasing. That the price, the wages have to be that up. I'm telling you, there is somewhere where that is missing.
Well, what's happening, I believe, is that technology that that's gone to the point where it's becoming a bit more easier to use, like a FX30 to film a movie.
Yeah.
But what the way they see it, the studios, is that, okay, let's make more of this then. If it's that easy, let's make more.
Yeah.
That's where I think they're going to have to cut back.
I guess because
they're going to cut back on some sort of spending, right? To get the money to pay the actors, they're going to have to cut back on spending. And they spend a lot. You got to Netflix, there's too many bloody shows.
Yeah.
And I understand why Netflix did that, and why streamers are just going for original content, because you can't rely on these legacy shows like Friends
to pull
staying
through
on your platform. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, people bid so high, like $1 billion for Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Seinfeld is a nearly 30-year-old show, but it's such a great show. It's demanding that much,
and it should be compensated accordingly. I guess that's my point. But it's not easy. So when I hear about it, I understand, I empathize.
That's why I hear, from what I hear, they're gonna work out the actors one, but the writers one, they're
hard.
So far apart.
Yeah.
It's not even they're not even on the set. They're not even considering working that out.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Mate, because writers are literally at the end of nearly the end
of the totem pole
when they create a lot of these stories, right?
Yeah.
And they're at the end of the totem pole, and it's just it's sad.
Yeah. It is. There's a bit of an integration to the next topic, but Meta released their latest language model called Llama. Fucking Llama. Llama 2.
Fuck is naming this?
large language model.
Okay.
So anyway, look, I'm not gonna get into the specifics. You can go to a technology channel that'll give you there. It's just better, more variables, blah 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 blah. Better language model, right? But the important points about this is Meta actually released it for free. Open source, all right? Open source, right? Yeah. There are caveats on it. Again, I'm not going to go into the specifics, so it's not...
And who said Zuckerberg didn't have a soul?
He doesn't. This is a Trojan horse, okay? So anyway, this is really smart. This is really smart because apparently, Llama 2... I still can't get over this name. Do you remember Winamp?
Yes.
You remember the llama like little commercial that they had on Winamp?
Oh, really? What? I didn't know about that.
Anyway, for those who remember Winamp, that's the 90s kid thing. Anyway, so they've released it. They've open sourced it. Very smart, because what they want is, again, like developers, academia, just all getting into it, right?
Yeah.
Getting used to releasing. And to be honest, I'll give it to Zuckerberg. Like, this has been a stance that he's had. Like, this sort of technology shouldn't only be for the privileged, shouldn't only be for those, but everyone and anyone. So he's released it there, but let's keep it real. He's not doing it because he's an amazing person as well. There is business elements there.
Yes.
And by putting the technology out there, he does allow companies to innovate, get used to it, and then bam, $59.95. I'm like, oh shit! I built my entire tech on Llama 2. I need to do it. Bam, $69.
He'll do that, man. I swear to God, he'll do that.
It's smart. Smart.
I mean, it is smart to put it open source.
Yeah,
but then no one trusts Meta. That's the problem.
What makes you say that?
They've got problems with that, man.
Everyone's got problems. Bug's got problems too. They've all got problems.
I don't know. After all the trials and stuff with the data stuff, I think a lot of the consumer trust in Meta and Facebook has sort of tanked.
Well, let's think about consumer trust, because these, like a ChatGPT, a Bard, all of them are run on language models, right? Which is what Llama 2 is, right? So there are interesting narratives and points that come from this. And one is, if every month... Okay, so right now, advantage Meta in that apparently the Llama model is heaps better than the ChatGPT model. For now, right? Like,
when does this release?
This week.
This week?
Yeah, this week. So if you think of the rate of technology, what's going to happen is Sam Altman and the OpenAI guys like, oh, God, Elon. Not Elon, sorry. Zuckerberg. I can do jiu-jitsu too. They're going to go in. They're going to release their whatever, alpaca model or some shit, right? Yeah, they're going to say, you know what? Don't worry about open source. I'm going to pay you to use this, all right?
Alpaca.
At what point does the normal consumer say, hold up, man? Like, this model compares how many variables, how many more, it's better and better. Like, what difference does it make to me, right?
The problem, and again, we have to go back to marketing. But the problem, I see is that a lot of these companies go, oh, look at the tech specs, and none of them know how to do the Apple thing of like, how is this going to help you in your life?
Yeah.
What is this going to do? What can you do with like... That's what you want, right? Like, how is this actually going to help you?
I will say, though, that is from a consumer lens, right? Yeah. The thing about a model lens is actually a little bit more 3D to that, because it's not only that you want consumers on it, you want companies innovating on your platform, right? You want companies to use it as well,
right? You want companies to use it.
So that's, I think it's fascinating, because you
can... But I think that you have a little bit of that.
Of course. Of course
even two companies, they'd be like... Even like, because now at the end of the day, right, this is Meta releasing something. You need to sort of talk to the normal consumer as well. I know might be a B2B thing, but still talk to the normal consumer on what's possible.
Yeah, of course.
With this.
Of course.
Because I've just heard, the Llama 2. What?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, I don't really know anything in terms of what's possible.
It's because you've always hated llamas, bro.
Yeah, I know. They're fucking annoying.
Public service.
I tried patting one the other day. Seriously, I tried patting one the other day and it just looked at me weird.
You know what? You harassed it. You deserve to be kicked. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, we're gonna go through a phase where it's gonna be language model after language model, and it's just fascinating to see the big companies really are fighting for market share. Really are fighting for
Google and Bard, OpenAI and ChatGPT.
Yeah. Well, Microsoft and is, I think they're
with
connected.
OpenAI. Yeah. So they've got a deal there with OpenAI with their Bing search, whatever. And then so now they actually you have to integrate into Office as well. a lot of that.
Yeah. No, I definitely will.
I haven't seen yet, but like, will be cool to try out.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Speaking of that marketing element, like I think you sent me a link there, but there's a what is it? Like Threads was all the rage a couple of weeks ago, right? Their user base, I mean, they got over 100 mil users.
Yeah.
And then their participation dropped to like 50% or something like that.
That's yeah, it's sort of gone downhill a bit.
Yeah.
we talked it up a bit, but I don't know. It's just there's something going on with it. I don't know. Maybe it's not feature rich, or if it's like
no. I think it cycles. But tell me, have you used it since you downloaded it?
A couple of times, and like I don't know. This you know what it feels like to actually. Let's go in a deep dive on it because to me, when I open it up, I just feel like there's way too much company stuff.
What do you mean?
I'm seeing a lot of.
Isn't that indicative of the profiles you follow? Though I'm confused.
It probably is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something about I'm not seeing people.
You're right.
That's what I wanted from Threads, right? That's what I thought when it started. Is that I'll see more of my friends posting their status. What used to be status updates.
Yeah, are they though?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we tried a bit of it. I did.
Yeah, we tried a bit. I mean, I tried it. I tried it a little bit as well. But like, I don't know. I just feel like another place for companies to show their stuff.
Can I say something? To your point of dopamine hits, does you can tell how much I've used it. Does Threads have a rethread option, like a retweet?
I think so. Something similar to that.
The reason I say that is with the threads that you did, how much engagement have you got? Because the thing is, if you're posting it, I'm not saying that people aren't, because if you see big profiles, people are definitely engaging there. If you're not getting that level of engagement, retweet, all that stuff there, because Twitter is still the main one, you'll get off, right? Because you're not going to get people back on, and these social media platforms require critical mass. They require people constantly going on and self-creating the content for people to be interested. So if you almost not got to incentivize, but incentivize the creation or the rehashing of this content by virtue of retweets or rethreads, what the fuck you want to call it, likes, loves, or whatever. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's happening. The only thing I'll say to that is, dude, it's natural for things to peak and flow. Like, if you, I mean, 50% off 100, like the baselines are they're still recalibrating. So I wouldn't expect, if the expectation was it should be going up, and that's the only parameter of success. That's not right.
I have a feeling they wanted it to go up a bit more than. I
mean, of course they did.
Have like obviously you do see it go down, right?
Yeah.
That was it was bound to happen, but like I feel like they probably wanted it to go a bit more up. They wanted a bit more users before it went down.
Well, what is it? It's over 100 mil, right?
Yeah, it's definitely over 100 mil. But I don't know, mate. It is a bit disappointing. I mean, to be honest, I just went back to Twitter. So
apparently, it's 70% decline.
Oh shit!
Jesus Christ!
No, that's a big drop. That's
a massive drop.
Yeah, that's a big drop. Actually, I don't know how they can survive after that.
Well, that if you think about it, I mean, we're at an age where it's just so. I mean, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. What else?
It's too much, right?
Pinterest. Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is
it too? Are people starting to feel it now? Are people starting to be like, sorry, I can't do this anymore.
For any new social media company or whatever to come in, man, it has to be so different. It has to stand out, because Threads is a rehash of Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Whatever you want to say, it is. Retweet, rethread. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, it is, whether Elon, I was gonna say Elon, whether Mark wants to admit it or not, it's no different. It's a coat of paint sponsored by Meta, and it allows you to link to your friends, which is important. But that hasn't necessarily taken through, because there definitely is an exhaustion of these things, unless it's providing something different for me, why? I have to create a new one. You know what? Like, when firstly, the channel we're doing, we'd still not interact on Twitter, which is arguably the most important element there. You think I want to add another one in Threads? That's just, I hate social media as is. That's the way to interact in this medium. But I definitely don't want another one. I can tell you that. It's too much.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's becoming a bit too much. I mean, like, we saw all the memes actually back when Threads launched about like social media managers losing their mind because of the amount of apps they have to sort of manage. And I don't know, I just feel like it's not really a place. I think they wanted it to be a place of discussion.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's not yet. It's not yet. It's not now,
It's
because
just
there's nothing differentiating it, right?
There's literally, it's just it feels like a commercial space.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't feel like something that people are talking, and like that's, because if I were to go into the differences between Twitter and Threads now, Twitter, I see people. Threads, I see companies. And maybe people just don't want to see companies push their stuff, right?
Yeah.
As I said, remember, the marketing's changed. You don't want to be just putting your ad out there and this is it.
Yeah.
You want to be actually going on that level of the consumer and really trying to get something trending, get a topic going, like that type of stuff. Get talk going for it. Like, you don't want to be just selling something, because that's not going to work anymore, I believe.
Yeah.
That's my belief.
I will say, look, you're gonna build brand communities. That's definitely what it's all about. It's early. It's still early.
It is early. I mean, but right now, a couple of weeks?
It's incomplete.
Yeah, it's incomplete. That's another aspect.
The grade is incomplete.
It is incomplete. It launched incomplete, which is weird because Zuckerberg's had this idea since 2008.
What idea? Is just freaking like, okay, he's got it there. He's got the pull through because there's Zuckerberg.
Let's compare this to 2022's app of the year, Be Real. Right? Be Real. It was the app of the year, actually. It won so many awards last year. It's an app where it's 95% young people.
Yeah.
Right? And in Be Real, what you have to do is you can't view other people's whatever B-reels until you post your own, and it tells you when to post it as well.
Yeah,
so
right.
It gives you a notification on your phone. And then what it's meant to be is that, like, it's a more realistic version of something.
12 plus.
Yeah, it's a more realistic version of Instagram. So Instagram is all very glammed up and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard of this.
B-reels meant to be like your mundane life, whatever you're doing at the time, just post it, right? And then it's just like, it's really caught on with like the younger audience.
Yep.
Right? Because they're just like, oh yeah, I'm just here, at the office doing this. And then they're like, I'm just here. Like, they just literally takes a photo from the front and a photo from the selfie camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just basically what you're doing, and that's it. And like, it's taken off, but it's different to every other social media. It's differentiating itself.
I mean, when what the hell? I'm just getting a mind blank.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you got to have that connection with the consumer.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Where's the connection for Threads? What is it? How is it connecting to the consumer? How is the consumer going, oh, okay, I want to go on here and post my thoughts on here?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, right? Like, it's not doing anything like a B-roll. It's different. It's not, you're not really having that same discourse that you see on Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, some of that is toxic. You get sick of that stuff.
Yep.
But it's still there. You still see people. I'm not seeing people. Sorry, I'm not seeing people on Threads.
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't added enough people, but like, whatever the algorithm's throwing at me is just a lot of companies.
A lot of companies.
Yeah.
Oof, a lot of companies. Speaking of companies, the NBA, have you heard about this? They have released a new tournament. They're calling it an in-season tournament.
In season.
So basically, they're going to be 2 trophies.
In the middle of the season?
Well, hold on. Yeah. So the main one at the end.
Yeah.
And this is in the middle of the season.
Is this like Origin or?
Kind of, but not. So look, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it because, again, you can go on NBA.com. But the short of it is the NBA season starts in October.
Yeah.
There's going to be the games played in November and then knockouts. And close to like December, they're going to have a little like in mid-season tournament. So basically, the main takeaways here is there's going to be 2 trophies. One is the end of season 1, and this is not too dissimilar of what happens in Europe with soccer. By the way, they have different like
they have different ones.
It's not like it's been done before, but there's been a lot of questions that have been asked. One is why, why would you do it? One, 2 is the NBA is growing. There's a lot.
How is it? Like, I know, like the soccer example in Europe, they got cups, right?
Yeah.
They got different cups.
Correct, yeah.
And like, a lot of the teams are in that tournament.
Yeah.
Will this be more like a tournament style thing, or will it just be like a...
maybe the specifics. So in November, starts in November, on specific days, there's an Eastern and Western Conference. The couple of teams are split into a couple of rounds. 4 games are played on specific days. I can't remember the specific days. But the short of it is, after that, the top 2 teams come out from it, and then there's a wild card basically there as well.
So how many weeks is it? Because this is going to be in the middle of the season.
You're right. So that's what I'm saying. It's a mid-season tournament. So November, December, and around December they play it. So it's relatively short, but
I can see a lot of players not trying to.
Well, this is the interesting thing. All right, so the Denver Nuggets won the NBA the championship last year, whatever they won it, right?
Yeah.
So is it just that the best teams are going to win 2 of this? And what happens if you're another team wins it? Who's the better team? Our team is going to take this seriously. It's an interesting one. There's obviously financial compensation for winning it, but like if you are, for example, a LeBron James, some of the star players, they're actively doing load management at the moment, which means that are they going to take this tournament seriously? And the interesting thing about this tournament is at a certain level, it becomes a round robin, 1 game elimination, which makes it really exciting.
It does. Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. Like my team is the Detroit Pistons. We're a pretty piss poor team. But if, for example, just say a middle of the pack team wins that, and the proper team wins that there, is that a good thing for the NBA? Is it a weird one? Do you put it on your LinkedIn that you know what I mean? Like it's a very different dynamic. But kudos to the NBA for showing some level of innovation, for trying it. I'll give them that. At least they've tried it. People are going to consume it. It's going to be interesting. But I think it remains to be seen. Obviously, it's going to be the first year there.
Yeah.
If teams will really buy into that concept, and will they go all out to win it?
So the problem is, right, will they just rest their players?
Well, that's the thing, right?
And I have a feeling, because a lot of this probably has to do with broadcast deals
Of course,
and stuff, right?
The NBA is making tons of money.
Yeah,
So
and it might just be like, look, if we're paying you this much, we want star players to play.
Of course.
And
of course.
that's probably part of the negotiations, right?
Yeah.
Like, a LeBron has to be there in this tournament to make it.
Well, they can't
to give it that
they can't
credibility.
enforce that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And
But like
these
that-
tournaments are played on specific days while the regular season is happening. So it's like
that's where it's a bit.
honestly, like, firstly, I follow the NBA. I saw the video. I mean, I'm not saying I'm like the brightest bulb. It was difficult to understand specifically, but eventually it'll get there.
Yeah.
But the media coverage of it is going to be interesting, especially when you're playing games for a specific tournament while the regular season. I will say it's been commentated a long while that the NBA season is long. It's like fucking 82 games.
It could just be for like it would be good for young players. Right, because who are just hungry, want to be part of.
Honestly,
our boy Wembanyama, man, he would.
Wemby.
You can invite Britney Spears as well to that. He'll be part of that.
But honestly, I think, I mean, the whoever wins the NBA championship is the proper team that wins it, right? Because best of 7, how many times? Like, you can't fluke it. But you can get hot if it's a 1-game round robin, and that creates a different tension, a different sort of dynamic.
Well, that's the thing, right?
I think it's good.
It could give you momentum as a team to that latter half of the NBA season to be like, mate, we can go for this championship now that we've won this.
The mid-season.
We've won the mid-season tournament. We can go for it. What are they calling it, by the way? They call it mid-season.
They call it mid-season, and you know the trophy is mid.
Well, that would be a hit with the young people.
Man. It's all mid. It's really mid.
It's all mid.
I can see memes now, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of memes, your boy, Francis Ngannou, he's fighting Tyson Fury.
I didn't expect that.
It's happening. Well, no, hold up. We've been hearing of it. So, October 28th.
I didn't expect it to become real. That's
okay, there were a lot of talks about it.
Yeah, a lot of talk. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what. They're following the Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor business model, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Floyd and Conor was just when you
lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
It was lightning in a bottle.
You couldn't have. When you think about like both of the characters, the race wars. Let's keep it real. They played on it. It was lightning in a bottle.
Oh, we're getting into it. Race wars. Let's go.
They played into it.
They did. Eh?
They really played into it.
Is it Race Wars Part 2? Or?
I don't know, the colors align. Okay, hold on. But like they're clearly going for the Conor McGregor.
Is this
model.
Black Panther versus Captain America? I think it is.
I think, and you know what? Again,
Captain Britain, maybe not Captain America.
so they're doing it in pure boxing, obviously.
Yeah.
Ngannou can box. He's a devastating finisher. The heavyweight champion of the UFC, no longer at the UFC. And one of the reasons that Ngannou went to the PFL was that they gave him the latitude to be able to do boxing, because this would not have happened under Dana's watch.
No.
Definitely not. And Dana and Francis, let's just say they're not on each other's Christmas cards list.
Nah.
Yep. So the interesting thing about this one is it's been rumored, although probably whatever numbers we see on the internet are incorrect, that Francis is going to make more money in this one fight than he did in his entire UFC contract. That I can believe, although I don't understand how.
Yeah, UFC fighters get underpaid. That's easy to believe.
But he was a champion, so it's just an odd one, right? Yeah. But so that's been rumored. Secondly, there is a clause because Tyson Fury. I don't know if you watched Tyson Fury, but he is the massive.
I've watched his fights.
Yeah, yes. So he is like the heavyweight king at the moment. Yeah. Bigger than life. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. The press conference is going to be... Well, they're not going to be that good because it's going to be one-way traffic. Because Francis Ngannou is just going to be... he's going to be nice about it. He's not going to give you one-liners and stuff like that. And it's just going to be mean if Tyson Fury just hammers this guy on the press conference.
Ngannou says Wakanda forever. That's it. That's all he has to say to promote this. And Tyson Fury just go off in his usual stuff.
He's going to have his boy, Kamaru Usman. He's gonna be there.
Yeah. He's
gonna be there.
They gotta play up the entrance as well, man. They really gotta, come on. They gotta go into it.
M'Baku. He's in M'Baku.
He's in M'Baku. That's a M'Baku, man. Oh my god.
So anyway, there's a clause in the fight as a contract.
Yeah.
In whatever world, if somehow Tyson Fury loses, they get a rematch, which makes sense. Like we've seen this from time to time. Yeah. But it's so interesting. It's in October, so it's not that far off. I mean, we're definitely going to be watching it.
Yeah, I'll watch it. We've got
but again, man, when did we... I can't help thinking about, this young boxer in, Leeds, England, or whatever country that they are, that's coming up, that's doing all the yards, doing it all right. And then he just gets superseded by Francis Ngannou, in a different sport. I just can't help think of the discrepancy in the equilibrium there. And again,
well, the thing is, right? They're both at that star level,
of course.
As they're superstars, right? To me, it should inspire someone young to be like, I want to be on that level.
Yeah.
To get to that level, I need to do this and this and this. Really promote, because as we've said, combat sports, it's not just the fight itself. You need to have that other aspect to you to really become a draw.
You need to become a draw.
You need to become a draw. You can't just be two random people fighting.
I mean, who's the Australian guy? Costazu's son. Is it Sun Tzu?
Tim Tzu.
Yeah. He's a world-class fighter, but he's not immediate. He doesn't. No. That's not his vibe, right? Yeah. So
a lot of the draw from him is the fact that he's Costa's son.
Correct, which is terrible, right? So in his own right, he's writing his own legacy. Yeah. 10 out of 10 from a fighter. Yeah. But I'm not going to put a number because that's disrespectful. But the point I'm getting at is he's not a marketer. He never. That's not his shtick. But that severely does limit his income potential and his ability to have these huge fights, which are basically generational wealth you get out of this sort of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just, I think Connor's definitely shown it as well. You've got to know how to promote it.
That's it.
Connor knows what he's doing when he's promoting these fights.
CT is really
I know you hate him, but come on. But he's really but it's just you got to know how to sell it. I'm not saying you need to be Connor and being disrespectful to everyone. You just got to know who you are. And I reckon put that volume up to 10. Really, you do. Yeah. That principle has worked out in every type of combat sport, whether it's boxing, MMA, wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling, the Rock and Stone Cold, what they've literally said it. Look, there were characters, but those characters were us dialed up to 10.
Yeah.
And that's how you really get the drama of the fight, right? That's what look, a lot of people don't like that. I understand. A lot of people like the technical, the purists. They like the technical aspect. I think it's both. You need to have both.
In the end of the day, sports is entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So I love the technical element of it.
Yeah.
But technical element, you add a bit of theater and drama. Yeah, I love that even heaps more.
Yeah.
And that's from a person that actually likes the technical element. So if I don't like it, which I'm the mass market consumer, and this goes... The principle is economics, supply and demand. If you can create that demand, then you can amp up your earning potential, which is actor, everything, right? And with these guys, they have the ability to do so because of the eyeballs, because of the way. Interestingly enough, Francis has been able to do this without having the gift of the gab because he's a devastating finisher. Yeah. He looks like Predator. And actually, that's it. He's a devastating finisher. And to be quite like blunt about it, he captures a different target market. Yeah. Be that as you will, but like that's why he's as popular as he is.
Let's go back to Tim Tszyu for a second, actually. Yeah, because another interesting sort of person to look at, maybe Tim Tszyu's trying to go for this, is that Manny Pacquiao.
I was gonna say, don't say Choc Mundine, bro.
not Choc, but like Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
He wasn't someone that was like, you know,
but Manny,
like telling people off and stuff. But his character, he himself is a very respectful human being, right? And he had the best partner in Floyd Mayweather to go against because he wasn't. Did. That's why their fights were legendary.
But Manny, it's hard because you know when you look at a fighter and
the thing with Manny was very like, you know, he was
technical.
He was technical, but he also was like, he's respectful and all that as well. Yeah. But I think he dialed that up to 10 as well, that respectful nature.
Yeah.
He showed, this is who I am. I'm not going to talk and fight like that guy.
Yeah.
I'm very respectful and I believe in that.
Yeah.
He was very determined that he believed in that. And maybe like, you know, Tim's got to start doing that as well. Like, I'm a very respectful fighter.
Yeah.
I don't talk like that. I don't need to talk like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he probably should say that. Something like that.
We do agree, though, that in this age where everyone has a podcast, everyone has like a microphone there, like... not fighters, let's just say sports people or celebrities, or you want to call it, have their audience already. They can get in front of a mic and have that conversation in however they want to drive that sort of narrative. And in any sport, to have your own voice, your own opinion is important, and the ability to harness. I think you got to want to do it too, right? Yeah. Because maybe you don't, and maybe you're happy.
Yeah, maybe you just care about the technical. You just love the technical aspects of it. That's fine as well. Yeah,
that's okay. I feel like this podcast episode, we've gone a lot into marketing.
Well, it is both our
it is a thing. Anything.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, mate, that's it. We're done for this podcast. Again, guys. Thank you for your support. If you've ended off here.
See you next time. We're going to Oppenheimer review. I can't wait to watch it.
Oppenheimer. Subscribe, like, leave some comments below.
Peace.
Ciao.